I actually have this really cool mug. It's basically Baby Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's adorable and I really want to use that for the thumbnail, but I'm also way too lazy to go downstairs just to get it for a thumbnail. So today's thumbnail is going to be really boring. Hi everyone, it's Clarice and today I'm going to be doing the coffee book tag. This tag was created by Bangity Bangs and I was tagged by Ashley Dominic, so I will link both of their channels down below. If you haven't already guessed, this is a tag that basically takes a few coffee related things and relates it to questions about books. So let's just get to the tag. Black. Name a series that's tough to get into but has hardcore fans. There are actually a few series that come to mind. First is Lord of the Rings, but I personally haven't gotten into it yet. I just read the first book. Another is Song of Ice and Fire, which I also haven't finished, but I read the first two books and I really like them. Some people may have a hard time getting into them just because they're so intimidating. But the books I'm going to mention are the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. Not because I actually think that the writing style is difficult to get into, but more because based on personal experience, these are among the books that I would basically recommend to everyone, but they're the books that not everyone actually is able to get around to reading. Just because the length is pretty intimidating. The books are pretty massive, at least compared to the type of books I would normally recommend to other people. And so lots of people get turned off and intimidated. But if you are hesitant to read the Mistborn series, please read it. It's so good. It's definitely my favorite trilogy and possibly my favorite series of all time because it's just that good and you need to read it. Next is Peppermint Mocha. Name a book that gets more popular around the winter or festive time of year. There's no winter in the Philippines, so I'll just take that as festive time of the year. I really don't want to say Harry Potter because that's what everyone says, but I can't not say Harry Potter just because the first time I ever read through that entire series at once and finished it was last December. So I think because of that I will always associate Harry Potter with the Christmas season. But not only that, it's just the feelings that accompany the Harry Potter series. I really just can't think of any other book or series that I would want to answer this question with besides Harry Potter. Even though this answer has been overused, I'm still gonna answer Harry Potter. Hot chocolate, favorite children's book. Whenever there is a question that relates to children's books or books that got you into reading, I will always mention the Babysitter's Club books. I had so many of them. Unfortunately, I don't anymore, but those books are basically my childhood. And now that I think about it, it's really nice that while I was younger, I was able to read a series that had a diverse group of people. There were extroverted characters, introverted characters, girly characters, boyish characters, and this series didn't put down any of those people. These are also the books that taught me Pig Latin, the books that taught me about diabetes and vegetarians and let me understand those concepts more. And even though while I was reading these books, the characters in them seemed so old, now that I'm looking back at it, these were teenagers and even preteens, and they had their own business and were going about it really successfully and doing it by themselves. I don't know, I'm just so glad that I read a series like that when I was younger. Double Shot of Espresso. Name a book that kept you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. Another book that I overuse in tag videos is The Martian by Andy Weir, but I don't know, I just couldn't think of anything else. This book was just so intense and it really does keep you on the edge of your seat while you're reading it, which is weird because it isn't an action-packed book. Normally you would think to answer this question with something that's fast-paced and action-packed, but this didn't actually have a lot of action, but it didn't make it any less intense or interesting, and was just as hard to stop reading as those really fast-paced, action-packed books. So I have to give this question to The Martian. Starbucks. Name a book that you see everywhere. I can't answer this question with any other book but The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. My favorite bookstore in the Philippines is Fully Booked. I love Fully Booked, and every Sunday basically I go to Fully Booked. But me and my other friend, we have this running joke that every single branch of Fully Booked has the shelf. What the shelf is either just one shelf or more often than not multiple shelves of the same book. This book being The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. In the last 6 months or so, I think there's only been one branch fully book that I went to that did not have the shelf. But every single other one did, and it hasn't gone away. It's been months and it's still there. There's still that shelf. There's still at least 3 full shelves of just The Fault in Our Stars blue. You can see it from afar. You can see it when you freaking enter the store or the floor, depending how big that branch fully book is. Every single time, without fail, the shelf is there. The Hipster Coffee Shop. Give a book by an indie author a shout out. Unfortunately, I haven't read a lot of indie books. I feel like I may have read a few on the Kindle because there are lots of indie books on the Kindle, and there were definitely times that I would read a lot of the cheaper books on the Kindle, but none that I would really be willing to give a shout out to necessarily. So it's sad. I could probably read more indie books, but at the moment I don't have any to really shout out. Oops, I accidentally got decaf. Name a book that you're expecting more from. I won't expound on this just because I've mentioned this 1,000 times already on this channel, but I was extremely disappointed by 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray. Traveling through alternate universes, isn't that such an interesting concept? And I was expecting this book to be so much cooler than it actually was, and I was so disappointed when I read it. So definitely this book, not because it's the worst book, but just because it's the book that I expected the most from and got the most disappointed by. The Perfect Blend. Name a book or series that was both bitter and sweet, but ultimately satisfying. I'm so tempted to say the Mistborn series again, but I've already mentioned it, so I won't answer that. Instead, I thought I would take this as an opportunity to say a book that's actually one of my favorites, but I don't mention nearly enough on this channel. And that book is I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. I don't read a lot of contemporary, but I read this and I loved it. I mainly bought it because it was a book about a set of fraternal twins, a boy and a girl, and I have a twin brother. So that's why I wanted to read this book, because I thought it would be relatable and I just thought it would be cool to read a book about twins since I'm a twin. But it was so much more than I thought it would be. I don't want to tell you the premise of this book. I didn't know the premise of this book going into it. I just knew it had something to do with twins and with art. What's weird is, if I tried to explain the plot of this story to you, I think it would come off as a pretty petty plot. I don't know, it seems so shallow if I just try to describe the plot, but the way it was written, it just made me feel for these characters so much. I usually hate teen angst in books. I hate it so much. But while I was reading this book, I didn't feel like I was just being told a story about these angsty teenagers. Instead, it put you in the heads of these teenagers and really made you understand where their angst was coming from and really made you feel for these characters. This book was just so emotional. Definitely bitter at parts, definitely sweet at parts, and definitely ultimately satisfying. So I actually think it's a perfect answer to this question. If you haven't read this book, especially if you're actually a fan of contemporary, you will probably really enjoy it. So now is the part in the tag where I have to tag people, and as usual, I wasn't able to think about this beforehand, so I'm just gonna write the names on the screen. So if you're seeing your name on the screen right now, I tag you. Hopefully you haven't done this tag yet or haven't been tagged yet, and if you have, I'm sorry, but I hope you do this tag and I can't wait to see your video. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Again, thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!